Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Gopijana Balaba Giridhari Jaya Gopijana Balaba Giridhari Yasodanandana Braja Janaranjana Yasodanandana Braja Janaranjana Yamuna Tira Banachari Yamuna Tira Banachari Tira Banachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunjabi Hari Jaya Radha Madhava Gopijana Ballabha Giridhari Gopijana Ballabha Giridhari Yasodanandana Braja Janaranjana Yasodanandana Braja Janaranjana Nandana Braja Janaranjana Jamuna Tira Banachari Yamuna Tira Banachari Tira Banachari Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna Hare Rama Hare Rama Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare Rama, Rama Rama. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare. Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna. Nitai go Hare Bala Hare Ba Hare Ba Nitai go Hare Ba Nitai go Hare Ba Hare Ba Hare Ba Nitai go Jai Jai Prabhupada 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada Prabhupada Jaya Vishnupad Paramahansa Sri Bhaktivedanta Goswami Maharaj Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai Sri Radha Govardhana Ki Jai Gaura Premanandi. Jaya Jaya Sri Caitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Advaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Jaya Jaya Sri Caitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Advaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Jaya Jaya Sri Caitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Advaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. This morning we've been asked to speak on Sri Caitanya Caritamrita, and we're reading two verses from Madhya Lila, chapter 11, text 101 and text 102. So I'll just read it. Raja kahe shastra pramane Caitanya hana Krishna tabe kene pandita sabatan hate vitritsna. Translation. The king said, according to evidence given in the revealed scriptures, it is concluded that Lord Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu is Lord Krishna himself. Why then are learned scholars sometimes indifferent to him? Text 102. Bata kahe tanra kripa lesha haya yandre se tan hare Krishna kare laite pare. Translation. The Bhattacharya replied, a person who has received but a small fraction of mercy from Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu can understand that he is Lord Krishna. No one else can. Purport. The Sankirtan movement can be spread by a person who is especially favored by Lord Krishna. Krishna Shakti Vina Nahitare Pravatana. Without first obtaining the mercy of the Lord, one cannot spread the holy name of the Lord. One who can spread the Lord's name is called Labdha Caitanya, in the words of Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati. The Labdha Caitanya is one who has actually awakened his original consciousness, Krishna consciousness. The influence of the pure devotees in Krishna consciousness is such that it can awaken others to become immediately Krishna conscious and engage themselves in the transcendental loving service of Krishna. In this way, the descendants of pure devotees increase, and Lord Caitanya Mahaprabhu takes much pleasure in seeing the increase of his devotees. The word Sumedasaha means sharply intelligent. When one's intelligence is sharp, he can increase the interest of common men in loving Caitanya Mahaprabhu and through him in loving Radha and Krishna. Those not interested in understanding Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu are simply material in their attempts at professional chanting and dancing for money, despite their supposed artistry. If one does not have full faith in Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu, he cannot properly chant and dance. In the Sankirtan movement, artificial chanting and dancing may be due to sentiments or sentimental agitation, but this cannot help one advance in Krishna consciousness. The Bhattacharya replied, a person who has received but a small fraction of mercy from Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu can understand that he is Lord Krishna, no one else can. So this section of the Sri Chaitanya Caritamrita from the Madhya Lila is Lord Chaitanya in Jagannath Puri, and he's very much in the mood of separation from Krishna, in the mood of Srimati Radharani. Now he has just seen the bathing ceremony of Lord Jagannath, and he's very happy to see Lord Jagannath and Lord Balaram and Lady Subhadra and their bathing ceremony. So he's very, very happy. He was in ecstasy. And then, of course, after the bathing ceremony, the Lord Jagannath goes to the Gundicha temple. So there, the Lord cannot be seen for a few weeks. And so at that time, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was very unhappy because he couldn't see Lord Chaitanya. He couldn't see Lord Jagannath. So in his separation from the Lord, he went to Alanath temple, which was some distance away, and there's a form of the Lord there that he could have darshan, and that would placate him to some extent. So after spending some time there, Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya had decided to go to Alanath to see Lord Chaitanya, and told him that more than 200 devotees from Bengal were coming for the Rath Yatra, which was coming up. And it would be nice if Lord Chaitanya came back to Jagannath Puri so that they could have his association. So that time Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu decided he would leave Alanath temple and come back to Jagannath Puri. So he did that, and then Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya told him they're nearby. Actually, they've arrived. Of course, the devotees from Bengal would come every year for the Rath Yatra, so there's different instances of the description of how they would come and so on and so forth. But in this particular instance, Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya told Lord Chaitanya they've arrived and they're camped out by the Narendra lake. So Lord Chaitanya has sent Sarup Damodar and Govinda, his servant, to receive them, offer them garlands, offer them prasadam, and so on and so forth. And then, of course, make arrangements for their accommodation in Jagannath Puri. So this is the background of this particular section of Madhya Lila Chaitanya Caritamrita. Lord Chaitanya has sent Sarup Damodar Goswami and Govinda to receive the devotees from Bengal. Meanwhile, King Prataparudra, on hearing this information that the devotees were coming, desired to see them even coming from a distance, and he went up to the roof of his palace, along with Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya and along with Gopinathacharya, to view them in a distance. And as he was seeing them, they were doing kirtan as they were coming. And actually, there's many descriptions of this type of kirtan with the devotees coming from Bengal, coming and then going back again, and then how they would be enraptured in the kirtan. They wouldn't just be walking, they would do kirtan the whole way, practically all the way from Navadvip Mayapur all the way to Jagannath Puri and then back again. And there's descriptions when Lord Nityananda and Vedacharya were there, they were so swooning in ecstasy that they would, on their way back, there's one description of how they would go off the path, they would lose external consciousness and be totally absorbed, that they would just go, they were going in the general direction, but they would lose their way and they would come back to the external consciousness and they couldn't see the road anymore and they would have to ask someone, is this the way to Bengal? Oh, the road to Bengal, you're way off, you have to go back way over here. So then they would dance and chant back over there, and then they would lose external consciousnness, and then they would wake up and where are we? And they would have to ask again, oh, you're way off, you have to go back that way now. So they would become very much absorbed in the kirtan, and this was very much observed by King Prataparudra. And he turned to Gopinathacharya and Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya and said that I've seen many, in Jagannath Puri we have many kirtan and kirtan groups come here, many devotees come here, and visit Lord Jagannath, visit the temple and go around on parikram and do kirtan. But I've never seen a kirtan like this. I've seen many kirtans, but this type of kirtan, look, I can see even from here, he said, that they're effulgent and they're dancing and they're in ecstasy, and some of them are crying. I've never seen a kirtan like that, a samkirtan like that. And Gopinath Acharya said, yes, this is because these are such elevated devotees. This is just not kirtan or samkirtan. This is prem kirtan. Prem kirtan, meaning the level of chanting is so high that they're experiencing the love of God while they're chanting. So in this verse today from Caitanya Caritamrita, here King Prataparudra is having a conversation with Sarvabhaumacharya, and the king is, of course, very, very much the follower of Lord Caitanya and very appreciative of Lord Caitanya. And in the first shloka we read that where he says that there is much evidence in the Shastras that conclude that Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is Lord Krishna himself. Yet learned scholars study these Shastras and they are indifferent. They don't understand him, or they don't accept him, or they're just indifferent to him. And so here, that's the position that there's many great scholars, and they read so many things, but and many have different opinions about different things as well. But Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, the actual position of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is not so well known. And he is like a Chana avatar, a hidden incarnation. He appeared as a devotee. In fact, he didn't. When his devotees, understanding his position, would praise him as the Supreme Personality of God, and he didn't like to hear that, and he would cover his ears. No, I'm just a devotee. So he portrayed himself as a devotee, and that's the mood he wanted to give, and he didn't like to be called. So he was hidden, but nevertheless, there's many statements in the Shastra that actually proclaim Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to be non-different to Lord Krishna. They're just like in... of course, we know that the Caitanya Upanishad, which was, fortunately for us, translated and commentated on by Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, and he was searching the length and breadth of Bengal and all over to find. He had heard about Caitanya Upanishad, which is supposed to be part of the Atharva Veda, and he was looking for it, but he couldn't find it anywhere. A friend of his, a Pandit friend of his, had found the original manuscript, handwritten, and made a copy of it and sent it to Bhaktivinoda Thakur. This was in 1877, and he translated and he commented on it. And so we have Caitanya Upanishad, where the different things are discussed, and the position of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Of course, there are some who question the authenticity of Caitanya Upanishad, or it's not one of the listed Upanishads, but there it is stated by, it is accepted by our acharyas, by Bhaktivinoda Thakur, by Srila Bhaktisana, by Srila Prabhupada, as authentic and hidden in the Atharva Veda. And also, of course, the position of Lord Chaitanya is mentioned in other Upanishads, Svetasvatara Upanishad, Mahan Prabhu Vai Purusha Satvaisya Sapravataka, Isano Jyoti Avya Mahan Prabhu. This is a verse from Svetasvatara Upanishad, Ananta Samhidya Eva Bhagavan Krishna. There are many verses, even from other Shastras. So some might question, oh no, Lord Chaitanya, he is not Krishna, he is just some saint, or some don't know who he is, so on and so forth. Even today, this kind of conversation is going on. But our acharyas, quoting from different Shastras, established the position of Lord Chaitanya, even though Lord Chaitanya, as I said, himself just covered his position as the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Chana Avatar, hidden. So King Prataparudra is asking this question: how is it that and the king, being learned himself, he knew of these statements in the Shastra describing the position of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and he's saying here, the Sarvabhaumacharya, who Sarvabhaumacharya, of course, is a great scholar himself, and he's saying to him that there are many statements, and many scholars read the Shastras and so on and so forth. Just like I remember one time I went to Rishikesh, I was talking to some pundits there, and we were talking about chanting the Hare Krishna mantra, and they said, "Oh, we are concentrating." They were following the Brahman level of philosophy, but they said, yes, we have read actually in the Shastra about that in this age, the chanting of the holy name is a recommended process for attaining liberation from the world. So they admitted they had read it, but we prefer to follow another system. So even though someone reads it, doesn't necessarily mean they accept it or even understand it. And so King Prataparudra, he was asking the same question. This was a query in his own mind. So here, Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya answers very nicely. Of course, Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya himself was schooled in the Sankarite system of philosophy, impersonal philosophy, and when he first met Lord Caitanya, and Lord Caitanya had fainted in the temple of Lord Jagannath, and Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya had brought him to his house and brought him back to external consciousness. And then he offered to teach him, because he was, Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya was a great scholar, offered to teach him the Vedanta and so on and so forth. And of course we know the story that Lord Caitanya listened for some time, but then when Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, he didn't say a word. Lord Caitanya didn't say a word in the whole time he was listening. And so Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya again said, "Have you been listening to what I've been saying? You haven't said anything. And you understood the Vedanta and so on." He said, I understand the Vedanta very nicely, but your explanation and Sankara's explanation is clouding the whole thing. And so Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya said, "Oh, is that so? Then let's hear your explanation." So Lord Caitanya proceeded to explain so wonderfully that Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya was just shocked. And he actually said, "I've never heard anyone speak like that before." Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya was a great scholar. And I never heard anyone speak like that. And he could understand you are not an ordinary person. And he could have had some idea. That a little later then, Lord Caitanya, of course, showed him his Sadbhuj form. Sadbhuj form is what are the forms of the Lord are manifest in the Sadbhuj form of the Lord? Who can say? Lord Ramchandra, Krishna, Lord, and Lord Ramchandra is signified by bow and arrow, and Krishna, flute, and Lord Caitanya. So there's 6 arms holding these things. And so everything is there manifest. He showed that to Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya. Later there's another story that when Lord Caitanya went to South India, he went to visit Ramananda Roy. At that time Ramananda Roy was doing puja. He had a Krishna deity, white marble Krishna deity. He was doing puja. And his servant told Lord Caitanya that he couldn't be disturbed at the moment because he's doing puja. But Lord Caitanya went in anyway. And he was just standing there. And as Ramananda Roy was doing his puja, he was looking at the deity, and all of a sudden he saw this form of the sannyasi in the deity. Then he was like shaking. Then he resumed his puja. Then he looked around, and then he saw that form behind him. And so he could understand that this was not an ordinary person. Of course, Lord Caitanya told him, "Actually, we are all friends, and I have come here again to meet with you." So Lord Caitanya is not an ordinary person. He is actually the Supreme Personality of Godhead. But the question here is that why is it that some even read these statements but they still can't understand? And Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya is now explaining. He's had that realization by the mercy, and he's explaining, person who has received but a small fraction of mercy from Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu can understand that he is Lord Krishna and no one else can. So this is very important to understand for us, this position of a mercy. It is bestowed to make advancement on the topmost levels of love of God, is bestowed upon the living entity. And I always remember Hari Suri telling me that in Hawaii, one time Prabhupada was speaking to devotees, and someone asked about Krishna Prem. He said he was talking about devotees. It's hard to make advancement, Prabhupada, because of so many attachments and attaining Krishna Prem, or that is seeming something with that beyond our reach. And Prabhupada said, Krishna Prem, he said, that is Krishna's business. When you are following devotional service very nicely, then Krishna will bestow upon you love of God, Krishna Prem. So it's something innate in everyone's heart, but it's covered. And to come up to the full level, one needs the mercy of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Sri Krishna, Caitanya Mahaprabhu, or his representative, his pure devotee. So pure devotees are very, very advanced. And here, Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya is saying a slight mercy, even the slightest mercy of Lord Caitanya Mahaprabhu, one can begin to understand who he is, that he is Krishna, and can begin to experience Krishna Prem, love of God. But one needs that mercy. One cannot do it by one's own endeavor. So this is very, very important. Actually, Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur was very famous for saying that. He said there are generally four categories of people in the world. They're very sinful people, and there are very pious people, and then there are some who follow the spiritual path. Then some are devotees, and then there are great devotees, the very great devotees. So the very great devotees, the pure devotees, are very rare. Of course, anyone can become pure devotee, but it's not such an easy thing. One has to receive the mercy of Krishna. One has to receive the mercy of the pure devotee. And the very great devotees, they're so powerful. Here we're seeing that Krishna Shakti Vina Nahi Tare Pravatana, that without obtaining the mercy of the Lord, one cannot spread the holy name. So Prabhupada was saying that, Bhaktivinoda rather, was saying that the difference between even ordinary devotees and great devotees is that just by a slight touch, someone, and here in the purport, Prabhupada actually explains, just a slight touch from a pure devotee, and of course Lord Caitanya Mahaprabhu or Krishna, one can immediately become Krishna conscious from whatever position they were previously in. Just a slight touch. And Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur said that this is the difference between ordinary devotee and great devotee. And he said this, and Prabhupada actually said this. He said that great devotee is very rare. He said that great devotee, the effect is minimum words, maximum effect. Minimum words. Just a few words can change someone's life just immediately. And if that happens, that means that touches, that is a very great devotee who has that power. One cannot have that power unless they're empowered by the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Now, Lord Caitanya Mahaprabhu, he is Krishna himself, and it is said that wherever he went, he would be dancing and chanting, especially when he went on tour, and he went from village to village, chanting and dancing, and he was so imbued with love of God that everyone was flocking to. They'd seen him or heard that he was there, and they wanted to come and have his association, and they were so moved just by seeing him, being in association. And it is said that Lord Chaitanya, if he just looked at you, you could receive love of God. He could bestow upon you Krishna Prem just by looking at you. This is the power. Of course, the Lord wants to see our sincere effort to become Krishna conscious. But when the Lord sees that, if you're very sincere, and then by the kindness of these great devotees and by the kindness of the Lord, one may receive the mercy to begin to understand who is Lord Chaitanya. Now, Prabhupada goes to some length here in this purport. This is a very important thing to understand, that with this chanting and dancing is especially the gift of Lord Caitanya Mahaprabhu, especially given in this age of Kali. And to make advancement, especially now, we have to understand what the goal of the chanting is. The goal is to develop our divine love, our spiritual love, our Krishna prem. And so this can only be done through the medium of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. One needs this mercy of Lord Chaitanya to be able to come to this position. Lord Chaitanya is bestowing his mercy upon the living entities. So when we chant and dance, following in the footsteps of the acharyas and understanding who is Lord Chaitanya and understanding the explanations of the chanting, especially in Lord Chaitanya Shikshashtakam, and associating and doing everything just nicely. So Prabhupada goes to some length to say here that those who chant and dance, who don't accept Lord Chaitanya, they don't get the real topmost benefit of the goal of the chanting. Because the goal of the chanting is bestowed upon one. So this mercy is bestowed upon all of us in Kali Yuga through the medium of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. This is what Prabhupada is stressing this point here. Through the medium of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So you can chant and dance, and that's wonderful. You can chant Hare Krishna mantra, but sometimes it just kind of shallow. Of course, some benefit will be there, but it's shallow. It's not deep. It's not deep, and so someone may do chanting. I always remember on a morning walk, Prabhupada in Vrindavan, everyone was walking Prabhupada, and then some man came and just rolled in the dust. Prabhupada had to stop, roll in the dust, Radhe, Radhe, and he started crying, Radhe, Radhe, and Prabhupada just stopped and looked, and then walked around and kept going. He didn't say anything about it. And then we looked back, and that man just picked himself, dusted himself off, and walked off. And then we didn't hear any more Radhe, Radhe. So someone may pretend and make a show. Making a show is not as advantageous, actually, sincerely having that feeling in your heart. And sometimes someone even cries. There was one letter Prabhupada sent, I think it was to Madhavisa, and they was talking about something or other, and in regard to chanting, and some people were just artificially doing this chanting, and Prabhupada commented, yes, there's one saying, easy to cry, easy to dry. You understand it? Easy to cry. And it means if you just cry just for the sake of crying, then very quickly it'll go away. But if you actually receive the mercy of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, then that goes very deep. And it's not very easy, especially in this age, to come to the topmost level. We need all the mercy that we can get. Now, by coming to the position of devotional service, one becomes sumedasa, one's pure intelligence develops. By pure intelligence, I don't mean just intelligence of the world where one becomes a doctor or a lawyer or engineer, and of course you need intelligence to do these things on the material level, but we're talking about a deeper intelligence, understanding yourself as the soul, understanding part and parcel of Krishna, and developing that love. That's called sumedasa. Medasa means intelligence. Very sharp intelligence. So then when one obtains this sharp intelligence, gets the mercy of Lord Chaitanya, one can go very nicely on the path and develop their love of God. But through the chanting, by chanting, one experiences that ecstasy, the true ecstasy, and it will grow more and more and more. They can chant, they can dance, they can do very nicely, but they're not really tasting the deeper aspects of the chanting. It's like, for example, you may see a jar of honey and may be attracted to it. It's, honey is, even to look at it, is very attractive to look at. And if it's in a jar, you see the jar of it, and you want to experience the honey. Now, if you go over and pick up the jar and just lick the bottle, you're just licking the outside of the bottle. You're not going to really experience what the honey is. And if you want to know what the honey is, you have to open the bottle and then taste the honey. Then you'll experience the honey. So just licking the outside is not very advantageous. So those who don't accept Lord Chaitanya and get his mercy, it's like licking that outside of the bottle. There's some idea of it, something's there, but you're not going deep into it. So chanting has to be very sincere, and then so much benefit will be there. In fact, I remember one time we were in Mayapur, it was early on in the 70s, and someone had organized, from Mayapur side, had organized a kirtan competition. and different countries had to get together kirtan groups, and then they would go on the stage. There was a big stage, big pandal there, and a big stage, and all the devotees from different countries around the world would perform kirtan, and there was a kind of a panel of devotees that were sitting there, and then taking notes. Nice kirtan, play good mandanga, good voice, taking notes. Which country was there of the devotees did the best kirtan? So this was organised. I remember we got up one time. I didn't think much of it, but then Prabhupada heard about it, and he immediately stopped it. He said, "No, kirtan is not for competition like that." He said, "We don't do kirtan for some profit, make some money, or do it for competition. Who is the best kirtan leader? Who is the this, that? No, we don't do it. We do it out of sincerity, and that gives us the most benefit." The Prabhupada stopped it, and immediately it was just stopped. People were shaking their finger. Whose idea was this anyway? It's your idea. No, it was your idea. So this is the idea. So if one understands these things, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who is Lord Chaitanya? Getting the mercy of the pure devotee, getting the mercy of the Lord, then you can yourself feel it, and when you feel it yourself, then with that Shakti, Krishna Shakti, here the word is Krishna Shakti, here there also another word, Labda Chaitanya. Labda means to obtain, to obtain the mercy of Lord Chaitanya, Labda Chaitanya. So if one has obtained the mercy of Lord Chaitanya, you can go deep into Hare Krishna chanting. Deep into Hare Krishna chanting. But you need the mercy of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So devotees, Prabhupada always encouraged every year, go to Sridham Mayapur. First come to Sridham Mayapur, obtain the mercy of Lord Nityananda, of Lord Chaitanya, all the Panchatattva, get their mercy. And by their mercy, then one can become closer to Radha and Krishna. Don't try to artificially jump up to Radha Krishna platform. That is very high. The love of Radha and Krishna very, very high, and it's not. It shouldn't be attempted artificially. Don't go jumping. Just be humble. We have to see the Shikshastika prayers given by Lord Chaitanya. Be very, very humble and pray for the mercy of the Lord. And interestingly enough, when Lord Chaitanya was traveling everywhere, this is the message he gave, that so many wanted to. Actually, many followed Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So many thousands, when he was traveling village to village, they would come and bow down, try to take the dust from his lotus feet. They appreciated just being in his presence. But Lord Chaitanya didn't want to travel with big crowds around him. He wanted to travel simply, and just even he wanted to travel in the beginning. He wanted to go by himself, but it was only Lord Nityananda and others who approached him. No, you have to go with some other devotees to help you. You can't just go by yourself. There's thieves on the road, all sorts of things. So Lord Chaitanya agreed to just travel with one devotee. One devotee. They first of all, Lord Nityananda said, four should go with you. And no, not four. Or three. No, one. So one went with Lord Chaitanya. So Lord Chaitanya didn't like many following, so sometimes he would get up in the middle of the night and just leave that village, so he could travel just quietly by himself. But wherever he went, so many were attracted. There's one story of him traveling to Kormakchetra. Kormakchetra is in South India. I've been there. And in the nearby village, there was one Brahmana, Korma Brahmana, who was so attracted seeing Lord Chaitanya dancing and chanting, invited him to his home, bathed his feet, and sprinkled the water of his lotus feet on his family members, and prepared nice prasadam for Lord Chaitanya, and gave Lord Chaitanya. And he was so overwhelmed by Lord Chaitanya that as Lord Chaitanya was getting up to leave, he said, "My Lord, please let me go with you. You know, I've been in the family life, but now I just want to be with you." And Lord Chaitanya said, "No, don't talk like that. You go and live with your family, and you chant the Hare Krishna mantra at home." And this is a very famous verse that I'll just read quickly. Yare dekatare kare Krishna upadesha, amara agya gurahana tara edesha. And this is the instruction of Lord Chaitanya to Korma. Instruct everyone to follow the orders of Lord Sri Krishna as they are given in Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam. In this way, become a spiritual master and try to liberate everyone in this land. And as I said, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, when Korma wanted to go with him, don't speak like that again. He said, better to remain at home and chant the holy name of Krishna always. So no need to give up anything, but one has to try to be sincere. Of course, avoiding bad habits, sinful activities, that's of course, but one can do from any position. And Lord Caitanya said, don't speak like that again. And Prabhupada actually in his purport, he said, this is actually the sublime mission of the International Society for Krishna Consciousness. Many people come and inquire whether they have to give up family life or give up so many things, but that is not our mission. One can remain comfortably in his residence, and we simply request everyone to chant the Maha Mantra, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. And if one is a little more interested in philosophy, one can read Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam. So Prabhupada says this is the mission of the Krishna consciousness movement. So Hare Krishna, thank you very much for coming to class this morning. So there's a little bit of time before breakfast for questions. So if anyone would like to ask any question. The mercy of the holy name, yes. One will do that now. Now, it is said that to serve the great Vaishnavas. So you have to see, to get the mercy of Lord Caitanya, he left his Shikshastakam, those prayers that we chant in the morning. If you read those prayers, you can understand the mood of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Well, of course, his direct disciple since Lord Chaitanya elucidated more different shastras. But in essence, Lord Chaitanya is there in his Shikshastakam. If you read those and try to follow the mood and instructions in that Shikshastakam, then you're in line to get the mercy of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So very kindly, Lord Chaitanya has left that Shikshastakam. I remember we started chanting that in the temple in Melbourne in 1975. That was the first time we started chanting. Madhavisa introduced that. So since 1975, we've been chanting Shikshastakam. But it's very important, those prayers of Lord Chaitanya. So, I mean, there's many different types of answers, but I think the one essential answer is that try to understand Lord Chaitanya's Shikshastakam and try to follow that. And then within that, there's instruction to follow all the great devotees. And if you do that, then the mercy will be bestowed. He'll be very happy. And Prabhupada actually mentions here in the purport that Lord Chaitanya is very pleased. He will become very pleased when he sees the devotees sincerely endeavoring and trying to spread Krishna consciousness, and sees many devotees coming. And then automatically Lord Chaitanya is it doesn't take much to please Lord Chaitanya. It's not that we have to, do something beyond our capability. But you have to understand how to do it nice. Just like the jar of honey, to taste the honey, you have to know how to open the jar. So if you don't know how to open the jar, you won't get it. So you have to know. So Lord Chaitanya has left us those instructions, how to get the mercy, how to go deep in the chanting of the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. Any other question? Yeah, no. Very suitable as a devotee, not putting himself forward as a god, but as a devotee, and teaching us how to be devotees. So we can understand that Lord Chaitanya wanted us to be good devotees, and Lord Chaitanya gives the chanting. One time in Melbourne, I don't know if you were there, but someone asked, "How is we read in Bhagavad Gita, Swami? I remember this question. We read in Bhagavad Gita that the Lord appears in every age. How has he come in this age, in the Kali?" I thought Prabhupada was going to say in the form of Lord Chaitanya, but he said he's come in the form of his holy name. So Lord Chaitanya is giving the holy name, that is Krishna. He never presented himself as Krishna, but he gave the name with Krishna. Of course, there's no difference. There's subtleties there. But yeah, most appropriate form. Yeah, very good. Chanting, dancing, taking prasadam. Any final question? One last question. I think Jasoda still had a question. Well, it depends on the consciousness of the individual. I mean, if you're just thinking that I'm just doing this, it's a performance, and I want to get paid, and if I don't get paid, I'm not doing the performance. So that type of chanting, you're not going to get that mercy of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And Prabhupada was not in favor of any of this type of chanting. One has to be sincere. You're not doing it for money. You're not doing it for prestige and who is the best. I lead the kirtan better than you. I give the class better than you. No, you can't. You have to be humble, and then through that humility and by following in the footsteps, then one actually makes advancement. So, what is the consciousness? That will be seen over some period. What is the consciousness of that? So anyone can do performance and make money also. But who is the sincere chanting? Who is actually making a real advancement in the Krishna consciousness? So we have to put aside these external motives and go deep and concentrate on sincere motivation to develop love of God, to please the devotees, please Krishna, please Lord Chaitanya. This is the best way to make advancement in the chanting. Anyone can chant, but who can keep chanting their whole life? And who can come to the high level? It's not a question of how much chanting is there, it's a question of quality of chanting. Quality of chanting. Not so easy, but by the mercy of the devotee, great devotees especially, mercy of the Lord, one can go to the topmost levels. Any final question? Yes. Okay. Jai Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. Gaur Premanandi Hari Hari Bo.